Welcome back to the Mental Health Checkup, the podcast where we have real, honest conversations about mental health. No judgment, no pretending, just the thoughts we all experience but don't always talk about. I'm your host, Nico Probst, and if this is your first time tuning in, I'm just a high school student trying to navigate the ups and downs of life, just like you. And if you've been here before, I really appreciate you coming back. It means a lot. Now, today we're diving into something that's been on my mind a lot lately. The fear of getting older and the fear of change. If you've ever thought about the future and felt completely overwhelmed, like life is moving way too fast and you just want to hit pause, you're not alone. It can feel like everyone else is handling it so well while you're stuck wondering how to keep up. Social media only makes this worse, making it seem like everyone has their life figured out while you're still trying to wrap your head around what's next. But here's the thing, this fear is pretty normal. And today we're going to unpack it together by explaining why so many of us feel this way, why change feels so overwhelming, and most importantly, how to shift your mindset so that growing up doesn't feel like something to fear, but something to embrace. So let's get right into it. There's this idea that growing up means stepping into a world full of stress, responsibility, and pressure. And yeah, sometimes that's true. But what really makes aging feel so scary is the expectations that come with it. From a young age, we're told that life follows a set timeline. By a certain age, you're supposed to have everything figured out, what major you want, where you'll live, and what your future looks like. And if you don't, well, it feels like you're falling behind, like somehow you've missed the deadline for success. This pressure comes from everywhere, our parents, teachers, society, and especially social media. We see people our age already launching businesses, getting into dream colleges, traveling the world, and it creates this false idea that if you're not achieving big things right now, you're already behind. But that's just not true. Success has no deadline. There's no rule that says you need to have everything figured out by 18, 21, or even 25. The reality is, most people don't have everything figured out, even well into adulthood. And then there's the pressure of responsibility. As kids, we don't have to think about things like paying bills, managing our time, or making major life decisions. But as we get older, we start realizing that we are actually the ones responsible for our own future. That realization can feel very overwhelming, especially when we're still figuring out who we even are. Suddenly, every choice feels like it has high stakes. Pick the wrong major and you'll ruin your career. Make the wrong decision and your future is doomed. At least that's what it feels like. But here's what no one tells you. Most decisions in life aren't permanent. You can change majors, you can switch career paths, you can move to a different city. You're not locked into anything forever. Growing up doesn't mean you have to have everything mapped out right now. It just means taking things one step at a time. Another reason getting older feels so terrifying is that we romanticize the youth. There's this idea that high school or your early 20s are the best years of your life. And sure, those years can be great, but they don't have to be the peak. Life doesn't suddenly go downhill after 18 or 21. If anything, in many ways, it gets better because you gain more freedom, independence, and control over your life. You get to make decisions for yourself instead of following someone else's plan. But when we're stuck in the fear of getting older, we don't see those opportunities. We only see what we think we're losing. The truth is, growing up isn't about losing yourself. It's about discovering new parts of what makes you, you. Every stage of life brings new experiences, new relationships, and new possibilities. Instead of seeing it as something to dread, what if we started seeing it as something to be excited about? The fear of aging is really just the fear of the unknown. And while it's normal to feel uneasy about what's ahead, what's even more important is reminding yourself that you don't have to have all of the answers right now. Life unfolds in very unexpected ways, and sometimes the best things happen when you just let go of the pressure to have it all figured out and just focus on what's in front of you. So if you've been feeling overwhelmed by the idea of growing up, take a deep breath. You have more time than you think. There's no rush. You are not behind. You're exactly where you need to be. Now, change is one of those things that sounds good in theory, new opportunities, fresh starts, and exciting experiences. But in reality, it can feel completely overwhelming. Even when we want change, our brain sometimes reacts like it's a threat. And when it's a change we didn't ask for, it can feel even worse. One of the biggest reasons why change feels so scary is because of uncertainty. We don't know exactly what's coming next, and our brains hate that. The human brain is wired to crave predictability because, back in the day, survival depended on it. The unknown could mean danger, so our ancestors had to be high on alert whenever things changed. And while we don't have to worry about getting chased by wild animals anymore, our brains still react to uncertainty as if it was some sort of fear. Think about a time where you were about to start something new, a new school year, a new job, or even just a new hobby. No matter how excited you were, there was probably a moment where doubt crept in. What if this doesn't go well? What if I'm not good enough? Or what if this turns out to be some sort of mistake? That's your brain trying to protect you from the unknown. But in reality, most of the time, the things we fear don't even happen, or if they do, they turn out to be way less scary than we imagined. And another reason change feels overwhelming is because it forces us to leave our comfort zone. When things stay the same, we feel in control. We know what to expect, and that predictability makes us feel safe. Our routines, familiar environments, and even the people surrounding us create a sense of security. But when change happens, suddenly we're thrown into something completely unfamiliar, and it can feel like we're losing our sense of stability. Even when the change is objectively good, like moving to a better place, getting an exciting opportunity, or meeting new people, it can still trigger anxiety because it disrupts what we know and we fall into a situation of uncertainty. The brain naturally prefers what's familiar, even if the new situation is an improvement. That's why even exciting milestones like graduating, starting a new job, or moving to a new city can feel very stressful rather than purely exciting. There's also the pressure to adapt quickly. We often expect ourselves to adjust immediately, to be okay with new situations right away. But the truth is, stepping outside of our comfort zones takes time, and it's okay to feel a little lost at time. What matters is reminding yourself that discomfort doesn't mean something is going wrong. It just means you're growing. And on top of that, change often means letting go of something. Maybe you're moving on from a place, a routine, or even certain people, and that can make change feel like a loss. It's easy to focus on what we've left behind instead of what we're gaining. And that's why growing up feels so bittersweet. We're excited for new experiences, but at the same time, we're very nostalgic for what we had before. And then there's pressure. A lot of the time, change comes with a ton of expectations. Maybe you're starting college and everyone assumes you should know exactly what you want to do with your life. Maybe you just graduated and people expect you to have a perfect plan of your future. Or maybe you're just going through a personal change, leaving behind an old habit, working on your mental health, or just stepping into a new version of yourself, and you feel like you have to prove something to others. Now, social media by no means makes this any easier on us. If anything, it makes it harder because we're constantly comparing our journey to other people's. When we see someone else moving forward, starting a new chapter, achieving big things, it can feel like they have it all figured out, while we're here struggling to keep up. But what we don't see are the moments when they feel just as lost, scared, or uncertain as we do. And at its core, change feels overwhelming because it reminds us that we're not in control of everything. And that can be pretty scary. Think about when you're on an airplane during turbulence. Logically, we know that planes are one of the safest ways to travel, but when we feel the plane shaking, it's very easy to panic, and this happens to me too. Now, compare that to driving a car. Statistically, driving is way riskier, but we don't feel as scared because we're the ones in control. That's how change feels. When life throws unexpected turbulence our way, we grip onto our fear because we're not in the pilot's seat. But just like on a plane, most of the time everything's going to be okay. We just have to trust the process, even if we can't see the final destination just yet. So, if you're facing a big change right now and it feels pretty overwhelming, remind yourself that you don't have to have it all figured out at once. Take things one step at a time. Focus on what you actually can control, and instead of assuming the worst, try to ask yourself, what if this turns out better than I imagined? Because sometimes the changes we fear the most end up leading us to exactly where we need to be. Now, as I'm saying this, you might be wondering, well, how do I even shift my mindset about change and growing up? And if you've been struggling with the fear of getting older or the fear of change, the good news is you're not stuck with that mindset. The way we think about aging and change directly impacts how we feel about them. And while fear is natural, it doesn't have to control you. Let's start with something important. Your brain is not out to get you, it's just trying to keep you safe. And the human brain has something called the negativity bias, which basically means we tend to focus more on what we could get wrong rather than what could go right. Think about it this way. If someone gives you a compliment and later that day someone else insults you, which one would stick longer with you? Probably the insult, right? Well, that's exactly what negativity bias is. Your brain sees the negative thing as more important because, way back in human history, paying attention to danger was literally a matter of survival. Now, apply that to change. Your brain sees the uncertainty of the future and thinks, danger, stay where it's safe. But here's the truth. Just because something is unknown doesn't mean it's bad. Some of the best things in life come from unexpected changes. So the next time you think yourself thinking, what if I fail? Try to flip the script and ask, what if this turns out better than I expected? It's such a small shift, but it completely changes the way your brain processes uncertainty. Another way to ease into change is by starting small. If big life transitions feel overwhelming, try introducing tiny changes into your routine first. Think like taking a different routine to school, trying a new hobby, or even just switching up what you order at your favorite coffee shop. The more you practice stepping outside of your comfort zone, the more your brain will get used to the feeling of change without immediately treating it like a threat. Even if it's uncomfortable now, chances are it's pushing you towards something good. Now, one of the biggest reasons why we don't even consider the possible benefits to these changes, and also why we feel like we're sometimes falling behind in life, is because of social media. It's so easy to compare ourselves to people who seem like they have everything figured out, especially when it's so easy to find people on our For You page getting into dream schools, landing amazing jobs, traveling the world, or just starting a business. But here's something we forget. Success has no deadline. Just because someone else seems ahead doesn't mean you're behind. And that's the thing. Change isn't just about adjusting to new routines or stepping into unfamiliar territory. A lot of the fear around change comes from the feeling that we're leaving something behind. Maybe we're losing childhood, losing friendships, losing the familiarity of what we know. But what if instead of focusing on what's slipping away, we start paying more attention to what we're actually gaining? Every phase of life comes with new experiences, new lessons, and new opportunities. You're not losing who you were, you're expanding into who you're becoming. If you've ever looked back at an old version of yourself and realized how much you've grown, then you already know that change isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. Instead of saying, oh, I miss how things used to be, try thinking, I'm excited for what's ahead. If you're struggling with a big transition right now, take a moment to think about 3 ways it could actually benefit you in the long run. Even if it's uncomfortable now, chances are it's pushing you towards something good. Now, one of the biggest reasons why we don't even consider the possible benefits to these changes, and also why we feel like we're sometimes falling behind in life, is because of social media. It's so easy to compare ourselves to people who seem like they have everything figured out, especially when it's so easy to find people on our For You page getting into dream schools, landing amazing jobs, traveling the world, or just starting a business. But here's something we forget. Success has no deadline. Just because someone else seems ahead doesn't mean you're behind. And it's important to realize that everyone moves at their own pace, and what's meant for you will come in your time, not someone else's. If scrolling through social media makes you feel anxious about where you are in life, it might be time to take a step back. Muting or unfollowing certain accounts isn't about avoiding other people's success. It's about protecting your mental space and reminding yourself that your journey is yours alone. And whether you catch yourself feeling like you're behind, take a deep breath and remind yourself that people only post their highlight reels, not their struggles. No one is broadcasting their bad days, their self-doubt, or moments where they feel just as lost as you do. Now, here's the thing. No amount of worrying about the possibilities will give you more control over the future. And yet, we spend so much time stressing about what's next that we forget to be present for what's happening right now. The future isn't set in stone, it's just a collection of possibilities unfolding one step at a time. And while you can't predict exactly how things will turn out, you can choose not to let that uncertainty steal the happiness you could be experiencing in this moment. Instead of spiraling about everything that could go wrong, try bringing yourself back to the present. A simple way to do this is by paying attention to your surroundings. Look around and notice 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This exercise sounds simple, but it's a powerful way to bring yourself out of overthinking mode and back into the present moment. It also helps to break the big, scary future into smaller, more manageable steps. Instead of worrying about where you'll be in 5 years, focus on what's right in front of you. What's something small you can do today that will move you in the right direction of where you want to go? When you stop obsessing over the bigger picture and start focusing on the small next steps, the future feels a lot less overwhelming. And most importantly, don't forget to enjoy the present. Life isn't about achieving milestones, it's about the little moments in between. The late night conversations with friends, the songs you play on repeat, the quiet moments when you're just being instead of planning. Those are the things that make life meaningful. Don't let the fear of what's next take away from what's happening right now. Now, as we're wrapping up this episode, I want you to realize that change doesn't mean losing yourself. It means growing into something new. If you shift your mindset, you can start seeing change as an opportunity instead of something to fear. So here's a small challenge for you. Think about a change you're currently facing, big or small, and write down 3 positive things that could come from it. Even if it feels uncertain or scary right now, shifting your focus to the potential good can help make it feel less overwhelming. Now, that's it for today's episode of the Mental Health Checkup. If this episode resonates with you, make sure to follow the podcast so you don't miss next week's episode. Thank you for listening, and remember, just because life is changing doesn't mean you're losing control. You're growing, and that's something to be proud of. See you next time. I'll talk to you soon.